Today we'll discuss what are the different ecosystem components in Hadoop, and also we discuss about what are the different daemon services in Hadoop architecture, okay, and what are the master services and what are the slave services, right, and how to configure at the time of cluster setup these services in Hadoop clusters, okay. We'll discuss about these things. Yeah. So actually, Hadoop, it was introduced in the year of 2003 based on GFS, Google File System, and GMR, Google MapReduce. Okay, so based on these two file systems, Hadoop was introduced. So basically, GFS, Google File System, it is used for data storage, and GMR, Google MapReduce, it is used for data processing, right? So based on these two structures, Hadoop was introduced by Dow Cutting. He is the founder of Hadoop. Dow Cutting is the founder of Hadoop. So he introduced Hadoop in the year of 2003, and after, yeah, actually, when he was implemented Hadoop, at that time in Hadoop there are only two concepts. Okay, he found there only two concepts: HDFS and MapReduce. So we already know HDFS means what? Hadoop distributed file system. Okay, Hadoop distributed file system. It is used for data storage. Used for data storage. And MapReduce is a parallel processing framework used for data processing. Okay, data processing means used for data analysis, right? So after that, different some companies like Yahoo, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, these companies implemented their own project on top of core Hadoop, on top of HDFS and MapReduce. Okay, so these sub projects were also called as ecosystem components. Ecosystem components. So in Hadoop, we have so many ecosystem components like Hive and Pig and Scoop, HBase, Cassandra, Loom, PG, Spark, okay, Solar, Avro. So we have so many ecosystem components, and all these ecosystem components developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce. Okay, so these are the different ecosystem components. Okay, developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce. Okay, so that means without HDFS and MapReduce, these ecosystem components will not work. Okay, these ecosystem components not work without HDFS and MapReduce. Why? Because all these are the sub projects developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce, right? So here HDFS is used for basically storage purpose, right? So we already discussed in first class the total Hadoop it is runs on clusters. Hadoop it is runs on clusters, right? So cluster means what? Basically it is a group of missions. Okay, cluster means group of missions. So basically the architecture of the Hadoop it is master slave architecture. Okay, master slave architecture. So at the time of cluster setup, we'll choose one is a master, remaining are the slaves. So in 1.x Hadoop, we have one master, multiple slaves. In 2.x Hadoop, we have multiple masters and multiple slaves. So, for example, see this diagram. In this diagram, we have 2 master missions and 3 slave missions. Okay, so this is my first master, and this is my second master, and this is my first slave, second slave, third slave. Okay, so yeah, so here HDFS means it is completely used for data storage. Okay, so HDFS actually it is runs on clusters only. Whenever we'll put some data into HDFS, the total data it will stores into Hadoop clusters. Okay, Hadoop cluster means like this. This is the cluster. Okay, so and we already know whenever we will put some data into Hadoop cluster, what happen? We already know the data will receive the master mission, and master mission will divide this data into small blocks, right? Now it will distribute that blocks into multiple slaves. This will happen when we will put some data into Hadoop cluster, right? So yeah, here and next after putting the data in HDFS, if we want to analyze this data, we can use MapReduce. Okay, we can use MapReduce. So what is MapReduce? MapReduce basically it is a parallel processing framework, and it is used for data analysis. Okay, data analysis. So using MapReduce, you can do any type of analysis. Okay, based on our requirement. Okay, we can write the MapReduce code by using Java code. Then we can execute the MapReduce jobs. So whenever you will submit the MapReduce job on cluster, the MapReduce it will be submit the job on all the slave missions, and you will execute the job parallelly. Okay, you will execute the job parallelly on all available slave missions where the input data is available. This will happen when we will run the MapReduce job. Now these ecosystem components, okay, these ecosystem components are also developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce. On top of HDFS and MapReduce means, you know, without HDFS and without MapReduce, we can't execute all these ecosystem jobs. We can't execute Hive jobs without HDFS and MapReduce. We can't execute big jobs without HDFS and MapReduce. All ecosystems. Why? Because all are developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce only, right? Yeah. So today we'll discuss how these ecosystem components are depending on HDFS and MapReduce, right? So Hive, you know, Hive is one of the ecosystem component of Hadoop developed by Facebook. So basically, actually, Hive is one of the sub-project of the Hadoop developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce, and it was developed by whom? Facebook. So what is Hive? What is the use of Hive? Okay, so basically Hive it is act as a database. Hive basically act as a database on Hadoop. Okay, so for example, take RDBMS. So our relational database management system. So we have so many RDBMS, right? We have SQL, MySQL, Oracle, DB2, a number of databases. All RDBMS runs on servers, right? But here Hive it is act as a database. It runs on top of Hadoop. Okay, so that means it runs on top of Hadoop means on top of core Hadoop. So that means HDFS and MapReduce. Okay, so basically Hive it is used for data storage and processing. It is used for data storage and processing, right? So how Hive will store the data? So basically Hive is a database. If you want to store the data into Hive, you have to create the tables first. You have to create the tables in Hive. Why? Because basically it is act as a database. So in normal RDBMS, how we can store the data? First of all, we have to create the tables in RDBMS based on the structure. Then we'll put that data into the tables. Okay, so in Hive also we can do same thing. If you want to store the data in Hive, you have to create the tables first. Okay, and basically Hive, it is a query language. Okay, Hive, it is a query language. So query language means it is very much similar to SQL. So whatever the queries supported in SQL, the same queries we can execute in Hive also. If you know SQL, if you know SQL, then you can easily work with Hive. Okay, you can easily work with Hive. Why? Because the Hive queries are very much similar to SQL queries, and the Hive language you also called as HQL. Hive query. Okay, Hive query language. It is very much similar to SQL, SQL. Okay, so here, what is the use of Hive? It is used for data storage and processing. So we already discussed, if you want to store the data into Hive, you have to create the table. Okay, for example, I will create one table EMP like this. Create table. Table name is EMP and schema ID in name string. This is my table name. I created this table in Hive. Now I want to put some data into Hive table. So I can use some query like load query, load data into EMP table. Okay, load. Yeah, this data is the file name. Suppose, for example, data.txt is my file name. So this data.txt contain some records. And now I want to put these records into Hive table. So I can write the query load data.txt into EMP. So whenever execute this query, this data.txt file, whatever the records contain this file, all the records will be insert into this particular EMP table. Okay, so here Hive, basically it was developed on top of HDFS. So whenever you will put this data.txt into EMP file, this data will store into where? HDFS. Backend, the data will be go and store in HDFS only. Whenever we'll put some data into Hive table.
Okay, so like I have one question. So
yes.
The first one is a create. It's a query for SQL.
Yes.
And this second one is query of Hive, load data text into EMP.
Yeah, both are Hive queries only.
Okay, so Hive query one is look like SQL, other is different.
Yeah, but here we discussed, right? Hive is very much similar to SQL.
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever the queries supported in SQL, the same queries you can execute in Hive also.
So my question is this the same query or these are the two queries? Like first we are creating a table, then we are loading the data.txt into the table.
Yes. No. This is the two are the different queries. This is the first query, and after creating the table, now I'm loading my data into the table. This is another query.
So data.txt should have all the columns as employee table.
Exactly. So before creating the table, first of all, we have to know the schema, right? So
right.
we have to know the data.txt contain how many fields, how many variables. So based on that only we can create the table into Hive. Then we can load our data into that particular table. Okay. For example, the data.txt file contains 3 columns: employee ID, employee name, employee location. But in my table, I have only 2 columns: employee ID, employee name. So whenever you will load this data.txt file into EMP table, what happens? First 2 columns will take, but third column, there is no third column, right?
Right.
At that time, we'll get error. The table contain less number of variables compared to input file. We'll get this type of error. Obviously, based on input file, before create the table, we have to know in our data how many fields are there. Okay. Then based on that fields only, we have to create the table into Hive. Then we can load our data into EMP table, our table.
Got it.
And And whenever you will load the data into Hive table, the total Hive table data stores into HDFS, Hadoop cluster. Okay, why? Because the Hive is completely developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce. So whenever you will put some data into Hive table, the total Hive table data will store into HDFS. So in HDFS, the Hive having the separate location, okay, separate location for storing Hive tables data. So whenever you will put some data into Hive table, the total Hive table data will store in that particular location. Okay, so what is the location and how it will be stored? We'll discuss clearly, and I will show all these things practically when we'll start Hive. Okay, yeah. And after loading the data, now I will write one more query: select star from EMP, and I'm getting the condition where ID greater than 1000. Okay, so actually in the employee table we have ID and we have name. Now I'm executing one more query: select star from EMP where ID greater than 1000. So I have so many IDs: 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, up to 10,000 IDs I have. Okay, from 1 to 10,000. Now I don't want total IDs data. I want only the ID, which IDs have greater than 1000. I want only this data. So I will write the query like this: select star from EMP where ID greater than 1000. So whenever you will execute this query, so that means here we are doing some analysis, right? We have some data, 1 to 10,000 records we have, but here we are taking only some records based on condition. Condition is what? ID greater than 1000. So we are doing some analysis here. So analysis means in Hadoop, for analysis we can use the MapReduce, right? But here we are doing the analysis by using Hive. Select star from EMP where ID greater than 10,000. So we already know the Hadoop, the Hive, it was developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce. So whenever you will execute analysis queries, in Hive, the queries are going to convert it into MapReduce jobs. Okay, why? Because the Hive, it is completely developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce. So whenever you will put some data into Hive table, the data stores into HDFS. And whenever you will execute Hive analysis queries, the queries are going to convert MapReduce. Okay, so end of the day, whatever the jobs, Hive jobs or Pig jobs or Scoop jobs, any jobs, all ecosystem components jobs will be going to convert MapReduce only. Why? Because all ecosystems are developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce. Okay, so that is the reason I'm saying without HDFS and MapReduce, the ecosystem components didn't work. Yeah, Mukta, any doubt?
No. So you are saying that as this is the analysis query, so it will be processed by MapReduce. Select star from employee. This is clear.
Yeah, but as a Hive developer, our responsibility is what? Writing the queries based on our requirement, writing the queries and execute. So whenever we will execute the queries, the queries are going to convert MapReduce. Okay, who will convert that queries, Hive queries, into MapReduce? That will take care by Hadoop framework by default.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is Hive, and we'll discuss very briefly when we will start the ecosystem components. At that time, I'll discuss with you very briefly about Hive and how to install Hive and how to write the queries and how to put the data into Hive tables, and whenever put some data into Hive table, where it will store in backend. Okay, and how to execute the analysis queries. Everything we'll discuss. Right? Yeah. And next, Pig. So yeah, Pig is also one of the ecosystem component of Hadoop, developed by Yahoo, and it was supported by scripting language. So scripting means in Linux we have shell scripts. Okay, it is very much similar to Linux shell scripts only, and it is very simple language. Okay, so here, what is the use of Pig? How it can useful for Hadoop jobs? You know, Pig actually it was developed for data processing, data analysis, right? It was developed for data analysis. So data analysis means after putting the data in Hadoop cluster, okay, after putting our input data into Hadoop cluster, if we want to analysis, if we want to process this data, we can use MapReduce or Hive or Pig or Spark. We have so many options. So yeah, Pig it is completely used for data analysis, right? So for data analysis, here we already have MapReduce. In Hadoop, we already have MapReduce and we have Spark also. Nowadays, most of the companies are using Spark instead of MapReduce. Okay, so we have Spark and MapReduce. But why we have to use Pig? What is the use of Pig? MapReduce also used for data analysis. Spark also used for data analysis. Then why Pig? Right? Yeah. So we already know MapReduce and Spark. These two are the programming languages. That means if you want to run the MapReduce job, you have to write the MapReduce code by using core Java. So if you want to write the MapReduce code compulsory, you need some programming skills. So without the programming skills, we can't write the MapReduce code. But right? In Spark also same thing. If you want to run the Spark jobs, you have to write the Spark code. Why? Because it is a programming language. You have to write the Spark code by using Python or Scala. Compulsory, you need some programming skills. So without knowing the programming skills, we can't execute the Spark jobs and Hadoop jobs. Okay, but I don't know programming languages. Okay, I'm not interested with programming. Okay, but still I want to work with Hadoop. Then what is the best option? So in these situations, in these cases, the best options are Pig and Hive also. So we already discussed about Hive. Hive is also used for data processing by writing simple Hive skill queries. And how we can execute the jobs in Pig? By writing scripting. It is a scripting language. So for example, I want to execute one job. Some job name is A. I want to execute this job in MapReduce. For executing this job in MapReduce, it took some, I wrote some, for example, 1,000 lines of code. 1,000 lines of MapReduce code I wrote by using core Java. Okay. Now I want to execute same job, A job. I want to execute this job in Pig. So whenever you will execute the same job in Pig, it will execute this job in within 20 to 30 lines of scripts only. Within 20 to 30 lines of scripts. Yeah, see the difference here. Whenever I execute the same job in MapReduce, it took 1,000 lines of code, 1,000 lines of MapReduce code. But whenever we'll execute same job in Pig, we'll execute within 20 to 30 lines of scripts only. So compared to MapReduce, Pig it is a very high level language. Okay, compared to MapReduce, Pig it is a very high level language. And whatever the jobs we execute in MapReduce, the same jobs you can execute by using Pig also. Why? Because Pig it is very high level language compared to MapReduce, and whatever the jobs done by the MapReduce, the same job we can do by using Pig also, by writing simple shell scripts. But end of the day, what happened, whenever you will execute the Pig scripts also again converting into MapReduce only. End of the day, everything is MapReduce. But as a Pig developer, Our responsibility is what? Writing the scripts based on requirement, writing the script and execute. After executing, the conversion of pig scripts into MapReduce, that will take care by Hadoop framework by default. Okay, so the guys who are weak in programming, for that guys, the best option is Hive and Pig. These are the best choice. Why? Because the same, whatever the jobs done by the MapReduce, the same jobs you can execute by using Hive and Pig also, by writing simple SQL queries and by writing simple shell scripts. So that is the use of Pig. Okay, Pig is completely used for data analysis. But if you want to do the analysis, data analysis in Pig, you need some input data, right? So the Pig, it will expect the input data obviously. So from where it will be expect? The Pig always expect the input data from HDFS only. So if you want to do analysis by using Pig, first of all, you have to store your input data into HDFS. You have to store your input data into HDFS. Then you can execute Pig jobs by writing shell scripts. Okay. Yeah. That is the use of Pig. And next, Scoop. Okay. So Scoop is something different, and it is very interesting. Okay. Scoop, it is not used for data storage, and it is not used for data analysis. Okay. So the Scoop, it is used for import the data from RDBMS to HDFS. Let's see here. This is my RDBMS. This is my RDBMS, and this is cluster, Hadoop cluster. Okay. So in this RDBMS, I have some 100 GB data here. Okay. Now our requirement is we want to analysis. We want to process this 100 GB data in Hadoop. Okay. This is our requirement. Then further step, what we will do? Yeah, Mukta, any idea?
We will make up blocks of 64 and then give our application to it and then assign to each slaves.
That will take care by master, right?
Yeah.
That will take care by master mission. So first of all, what we have to do? Actually, 100 GB data is in RDBMS. Now we want to process this 100 GB data in Hadoop cluster. RDBMS is different, Hadoop is different, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if you want to process this 100 GB data in RDBMS, it will take more than 2 days. But whenever we'll process this 100 GB data in Hadoop cluster, what happens? Hadoop means it is a parallel processing. But if we process this data in Hadoop, it will complete the job very fast compared to RDBMS. Right? Now we want to process this 100 GB data in Hadoop. So if we want to process any data in Hadoop, first of all, we have to put our input data into Hadoop cluster, right? Okay. So, but our input data is existing where? RDBMS. Here. Now we want to move this 100 GB data, or we want to copy this 100 GB data from RDBMS to Hadoop cluster. Okay. Now we want to copy this 100 GB data from RDBMS to Hadoop cluster. How we can import or copy? So in Hadoop, there is an ecosystem component called Scoop. By using Scoop, we can import or we can copy the data from RDBMS to Hadoop cluster. Okay. Now, Scoop, by using Scoop, I'm importing the data from RDBMS to Hadoop. Now this 100 GB data copy here. Okay. So after copying the data into Hadoop cluster, we can do the analysis. Okay, you can do the analysis by using Hive or Peak or MapReduce or Spark based on our chart, based on our requirement, right? So we can process this 100 GB data, and after processing the data, you get some results. Okay, I get some results like okay, I get some 10 GB results output. Okay, after processing the data in Hadoop, the output again stores into Hadoop cluster only. Hadoop cluster itself. Now I want to export this 10 GB data. I want to export these results again back to RDBMS. Okay, I want to export these results 10 GB data results into again back into RDBMS. So at the time also Scoop will be work. Okay, at the time also Scoop will work. So here, what is the use of Scoop? Scoop, it is used for import the data from RDBMS to Hadoop cluster. At the same time, export the data from Hadoop cluster to RDBMS.
Okay. So I have one question. Like we have copied 100 GB of data, and how the result is 10 GB.
Yeah. So we have so much of data, but from this data, we don't want total results. For example,
Metadata?
Not metadata. For example, this 100 GB data is Amazon online shopping data. Okay, it contains total customers data. For example, now our requirement is how many customers are logging to Amazon website this particular date and this particular time, in between this particular time. For example, this is our requirement. So based on requirement, we'll write some queries, high queries or pick jobs or MapReduce jobs, anything. So at that time, what happened? Based on whatever the code we wrote, based on that code only, it will give the results, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, now it will not get total data. It
Yeah,
only
yeah.
based on requirement data.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So Scoop, it is used for importing the data from RDBMS to Hadoop cluster. At the same time, it is used for exporting the data from Hadoop cluster to RDBMS. Okay. In my present project also, I am using the Scoop. Okay. So actually, we have some source database. Our database is Netezza. Okay. The database exists in USA actually, in California, right? So in that Netezza database, we have some tables. The tables contain data, input data. Now our requirement is what, we have to process the data in Hadoop cluster. By using Hadoop, we have to process this data by using Hadoop. But our input data is existing where? In California, Netezza database. Now we want to connect that Netezza database and we want to get the data from Netezza to Hadoop. So how we can connect and how we can get the data? By Scoop only, by using Scoop only. We are writing some Scoop jobs. By using that Scoop job, we are connecting to Netezza database. And from that Netezza, we are getting the data and putting the data into Hadoop cluster. After putting the data in Hadoop cluster, we are processing the data by using Hive. Okay.
Okay.
And after getting the results, again we send results back to Netezza only. Whatever the results we get in Hadoop, the results again we send back to Netezza database. a client requirement for showing the results client. Okay, so in my present project also we are using the Scoop for importing the data from Netezza database to Hadoop cluster. So that is the use of Scoop. Using Scoop, you can connect any database, not only Netezza, not only SQL. You can connect MySQL, Oracle, DB2, any database. You can connect by using Scoop, and you can import the data from that particular database to Hadoop cluster. That is the use of Scoop. It is used for only import and export. That's it. Yeah. And next, HBase. So HBase is, is a NoSQL database. So NoSQL obviously is not only SQL. So we know SQL. SQL means what? It contains rows and columns, table format. It contains rows and columns in SQL. But what is NoSQL? NoSQL means, the format of the NoSQL, it contains only columns. Here, there is no rows actually. NoSQL database did not contain rows. NoSQL databases contains only columns. Okay, so actually HBase, it is a NoSQL database developed on top of core Hadoop. On top of core Hadoop, that is means HDFS and MapReduce. So HBase is used for data storage. It is used for data storage. So for data storage, we already HDFS. By using HDFS, we can do the storage. Then why again this HBase? So actually for storage we have the HDFS, but in HDFS we have one drawback. We have one drawback with HDFS. For example, I have some file a.txt. This a.txt file contains some records like ID, name, 101. Okay, this a.txt file contains some records like this. Now, I will put this a.txt file into HDFS. Okay, I will put this a.txt file into HDFS. HDFS means I will put the data into Hadoop cluster. So once you put the data into Hadoop cluster, you can't modify the data. For example, I put this a.txt file in HDFS. Now I want to add some more records into this file. I want to add some more records into a.txt file in HDFS. HDFS can't allow. HDFS, it can't allow modify it. It can't allow. Why? Because the HDFS having the feature is write once. It is having the feature write once, read many times. So that means if you put any file into HDFS, you can't modify the data. You can't modify that file. Why? Because it is having the feature write once. But if you want to read that file, you can read a number of times. This is the main drawback with HDFS. So to avoid this type of problems in HDFS, HBase was developed. So HBase, it allows random writes and random reads. If you put any file in HBase, after that, if you want to add some more records into HBase file, you can add. Why? Because it supports random writes and random reads. But HDFS, it did not support random writes and random reads. It supports only write once, read many times feature. To avoid this type of problems in HDFS, HBase was developed. Okay. So how HBase will store the data? It stores the data completely in the form of rows and it completely stores in the form of columns. There are no rows. Okay, if you want to store the data in HBase, you have to create the table with columns, with column family. And whenever you will put the data into HBase table, the total data go and add it to that particular column.
Can you give an example how I can add our data in column wise? Like any example, any SQL data?
Yeah. If you want to put the data into HBase, you have to create the table like create table, table name, some test of. You have to give the column family name. For example, Hadoop. Okay. Hadoop is the column family name. Now we have some data like HDFS. You have some. This is the data you have. MapReduce, height, scope. Okay. So now I want to put this data into. HBase. Okay. So whenever you will put this data, this 4 records into this particular HBase table, it will add like this. Hadoop, HDFS, Hadoop, MapReduce, Hadoop, Scoop, Hadoop, height. So here, every time it is this data is adding to Hadoop. Here actually what is Hadoop? It is a column family we created at the time of table creation, right? So whenever you will put this data into HBase table, this data will go and add to this particular column family. Clear, Mukta?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah. So compulsory at the time of, if you want to store the data in HBase table, at the time of table creation, you have to create the column family. But for one table, you can create a number of column families. Okay. And at the time of inserting the data into that particular table, you can mention for which column family you have to add the data. You can mention the column family name also when you have multiple column families. If you have only single column family, obviously the data go and add to that particular column family. Clear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the HBase and Flume. Yeah. So Flume is it is also some similar to Scoop. Scoop it is what uses for importing the data from RDBMS to cluster and exporting the data from Hadoop cluster to RDBMS, right? But here Flume it is used for get the log files from web servers. Okay, get the log files. So log files means, for example, whenever we will log into our Gmail account, our Facebook account, our Twitter account, what happens, you know, our account related data stores into Facebook servers in the form of log files, .log files. Like this is the one of the file format actually. .log means like text format, PDF format, like that. We have .log file format. So .log means it contains heavy text data. Actually, this is the one type of unstructured format of the data. Okay, it is the best example for unstructured format. Why? Because it contains very heavy text data. Okay, so here, whenever we log into our Facebook account, any social network accounts or something, Gmail account, our total account related information stores into servers in the form of .log files. Okay, now if you want to download the log files from web servers, okay, we can use the Flume. The Flume, it will use for connecting to the web servers, and it can download the log files from web servers, and after downloading it will put that log files into HDFS Hadoop cluster. Okay, so actually we have so many projects on log file analysis projects, so many log file analysis projects. Okay, so for example, I will tell one example. I did one project by using Flume. That is Twitter related project. Actually, I have some Twitter account. For example, I have Twitter account. Now I want to get my Twitter account related information. Okay, so actually my Twitter account information stores into their servers, web servers, in the form of .log files. Now I want to get that log files for analysis. So analysis means what type of analysis? I want to find from in my account how many friends. Okay, how many friends are there? How many male friends? How many female friends? Okay, and how many members are following me? Okay, how many tweets, how many retweets, and which language, which country. I want to do the analysis, this type of analysis on my Twitter account. So obviously by using Flume, I can connect the Twitter server, and I can download the my Twitter account related log file, and I will put that log file into HDFS, and then I can do the analysis. Analysis means again we can use Hive or Pig or Spark or MapReduce. Okay, but Flume is only used for connecting to the web servers, getting the log, download the log files, and put that log files into HDFS. That's it. So, but we have to create the Flume job. Okay, we have to create the Flume job, and we have to connect. In that Flume job, we can mention what is the source. Source means which web server we have to connect. That is the source. And after that, where you have to put your log files into HDFS. We have to mention some directory, then it will automatically put our put that log files into HDFS. Okay, I will show the examples when we will start the practical. I will show the Twitter example only. I will show some example, then you will get clear idea, right? Next, Wooji. Yeah. So Wooji is also one of the important ecosystem. It is used for scheduling the Hadoop jobs. Okay, schedule the Hadoop jobs based on time period. Okay, based on time period. So schedule the Hadoop jobs means it can schedule any Hadoop jobs like MapReduce jobs, Hive jobs, Scoop jobs, Pig jobs. Okay, so based on time period. For example, I want to run Hive jobs at 12 p.m. and I want to run Pig jobs at 1 p.m. and I want to run some HBase jobs at 12 p.m. So I will write the code. I will write Hive code, Pig code, HBase code. Okay, and I will schedule these jobs by using Wooji based on time period. I will set the time period also. So whenever it will reach the time, okay, whenever the time will be 12 p.m., then it will automatically run Scoop jobs. In the time it will be 1 p.m., it will automatically run Hive jobs. So how it will be run automatically? We already scheduled the jobs by using Wooji. Okay, so by using Wooji, we can schedule the Hadoop jobs, any jobs. Hadoop jobs means any job, MapReduce or Pig, HDFS, any job we can schedule by using Wooji. Okay, so that is the use of Wooji. And next, Impala. So Impala also one of the main means it is having very good market in present. It is similar to Hive actually. It is very much similar to Hive. Impala also query language. It is similar to Hive, and whatever the queries supported in Hive, the maximum queries we can execute in Impala also. But the difference, compared to Hive, Impala will execute the queries very fast. Compared to Hive, Impala execute the queries very, very fast. Okay, so nowadays so many organizations are migrating from Hive to Impala. In my project also, first actually we used Hive, but then after we migrated from Hive to Impala. Why? Because we executed some query in Hive. At the time, it took 15 minutes time. Whenever we execute the same query in Impala, it executed that query within 2 to 3 minutes. In Hive, it is 15 minutes. It took 15 minutes, but in Impala, it executed within 2 to 3 minutes. Yes, just see the difference: 2 minutes and 15 minutes. So Impala is very, very fast. Execute the queries very, very fast compared to Hive. But it is very much similar to Hive. Same same queries. Okay, I will tell that Impala also how it will be. I will show the difference between both Impala and Hive. Okay, we'll see that when we'll start the practicals. Okay, but Impala is also completely query language only, very much similar to Hive, nothing difference. Okay, that is Impala. And Spark. Spark, we already know it is used for data analysis, and it is a programming language. Actually, it is a advanced version of MapReduce. Okay, nowadays actually Hadoop, it was developed in the year of 2003 only, but from the year of 2012, 13, Hadoop is the hard cake in market, having good market. At that time only, the Hadoop jobs are started actually. So when Hadoop started in the year of 2012 and 13, at that time, MapReduce having very good market. Without MapReduce, actually there is no jobs in that situation. But present situation, no one are using the MapReduce. As per my knowledge, no one are using the MapReduce. Why? Because Spark came into the picture. Compared to MapReduce, Spark is executing the jobs fast, very fast. That is the reason all the organizations are migrated from MapReduce to Spark. Okay, but Spark also same. It is also programming language, but here we can use either Python or Scala, and we can use Java also here. We can, by using Java also we can add the Spark code, but most of the organizations, but Scala is better. Scala or Python is better compared to Java. Okay. So we'll discuss about Spark also, what is Spark and how we can submit the Spark jobs on cluster and how it will be executed. Okay. And one more point, actually these Hive, Pig, HBase, all are developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce, right? So whenever you execute some Hive queries or Pig jobs, it will convert to MapReduce. But we have the option there. We have two options. If you want to execute, if you want to convert your Hive queries into MapReduce, or if you want to convert your Hive queries into Spark jobs, you can choose the option also. Okay, if you select MapReduce, then Hive queries are going to convert MapReduce. If you select Spark, then Hive queries are going to convert Spark jobs. Okay, we have that options also. Why? Because nowadays no one are using the MapReduce, right? That is the reason this type of present version we have that options. Okay, I'll show that one everything. And Solar. Solar is something different. It is used for searching and indexing. For example, in HDFS, I have 1 lakh files. Okay, 1 lakh files with different names. So I want to search one file name, one file with the name having India. Okay, I want to search that file. So by using Solar, we can search the files in HDFS, and we can do the indexing also. And we can search the files based on content-wise also. For example, I have so many files. We have so many files. We want to find out the files which contain context like Hyderabad. Based on content-wise also you can search. Okay, so that is the use of Solar. And Avro. Avro is, it is one of the file format. Avro file format. So Avro means, for example, you have 100 GB text data. You have some TXT file. That file contains 100 GB data. Now you want to process this data by using Avro format. So Avro means what it will do, you compress the file. You will compress this 100 GB file into small file, then it will do the analysis. So that is the use of the Avro. Avro means basically it will compress the file and will compress big file into small file and it will do the analysis. So that is the use of Avro file format. Okay. So these are the different ecosystem components we have. We discuss once we will complete HDFS MapReduce practicals. We'll start each and every ecosystem component one by one, and we can start the installation and then we can start the practicals. Okay, every ecosystem components I'll discuss with you practically and discuss with you very clearly. Okay, na? Clear,
Okay.
Mukta?
Okay, yeah, clear. So when we are going to install HDFS and MapReduce?
Yes, yeah. First, we have to complete HDFS and MapReduce theory. We have to complete architecture of HDFS and architecture of MapReduce. Okay. Once
Okay.
architecture theory will complete, immediately we'll start the installation, Hadoop cluster installation. Okay.
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 And one question, why this Impala and HBase are called non-MapReduce based tool?
Which one?
Impala and HBase.
Yeah. So Impala is actually without MapReduce, also without actually whenever execute the Hive queries are going to convert MapReduce. But in Impala, not like that. Okay. Actually, Hive it was developed by Apache. Impala it was developed by Cloudera. Okay. Impala it was developed by Cloudera without depending on HDFS and MapReduce.
Okay.
But all these Hive and the Pig and the Scoop all are developed by Apache. And all these Apache ecosystem components are all developed on top of HDFS and MapReduce. So without HDFS, yeah.
What does non-MapReduce based means? Like it doesn't need MapReduce to execute, or?
Yes, that's it. That's only. Impala is a non-MapReduce. Means whenever execute the Impala queries, it will execute directly without depending on MapReduce. Without converting of MapReduce jobs, it will execute the Impala queries. But in a Hive, not like that. Whenever execute the Hive queries, the Hive queries obviously converting into MapReduce jobs or Spark jobs.
That's why Impala is fast.
Yeah, that's the reason Impala queries are very fast.
Okay. And what is the use of Presto?
Sorry?
Presto is also an ecosystem component.
Can you spell it?
Presto.
Presto. Presto. Presto. Yeah, Mukti, actually, to be frank, I didn't hear this ecosystem components till now, but I will search once, okay?
Yeah, there are two more, like a Mahout.
Yeah, Mahout, I know. Mahout, yeah, Mahout, it is like analytical, mathematical analytical. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Mahout and R language also used for analytics.
Okay. So can I get a reading material? Like I don't have, if I want to read any topic, I don't have a reading material. I need to go online and search for the content. Can you share any reading documents with me regarding?
Sure. Yes. Today I will share one PDF with you. Okay.
Okay.
You can go to that PDF. That PDF contain very good actually. Okay. It is very good for beginners. Okay. Today I will share with that PDF. We'll go through that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Mukta. And today I'll stop here. And tomorrow we'll continue the architecture of HDFS. Okay.
What will start tomorrow?
Tomorrow same time. In between 9:30 to 9:45. Anytime. Okay.
Take your time when you're comfortable. That's okay. I will log in after. If you are fine with 9:45, that's okay.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I will join at 9:30, but that's 10 to 10 minutes. It will happen. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Mukta.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye. Good. Have a nice day. Actually, where you are staying in USA, right?
I'm sorry.
Presently, you are in USA, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mukta.
Thank you.
Hello.